Hi you guys, welcome back to another first impression review video. If you are new here, this is where we review an entire new collection. We're going to look at all the patterns and kind of check them out for fit. We're going to look at fabric options. We're going to just check out the overall design and kind of chat about them. Today we are looking at the new Butterick Summer Sewing Collection, and we are kicking things off with this Mrs. and Miss Petite top, short, and pants. So I do love a wardrobe pattern where they have tops and bottoms. It is 8 to 16 and 18 to 26 on the size range, the higher end of the Big Fives Mrs. range. Now, the Miss Petite, it's interesting because normally when they say Miss Petite, they'll have the sizing on the lower end. They'll start at a 4. But on this one, they don't. So I imagine it's the larger the size range, but the pattern pieces will have more lines on it for you to adjust the length of the pattern pieces. Honestly, you should be doing this anyways, but the Petite patterns do make it a little bit easier because they have all those lines marked. Button front top pattern has collar, bubble sleeve with elasticated cuffs and shirt tail hem. Shorts and pants have side pockets, waistband with fly front zipper, and hook and bar closure. So not a pull-on pant. Wow, we really are making moves, Butterick. Okay, so we have a collared shirt. It does look like a collar with a stand, so like the hardest of all the collars. We have a button front with just a facing, no button band. This really long waist dart, bust dart, grown on like a extended shoulder here. And then this big poofy sleeve, which is obviously supposed to be the statement. And then, as they said, the shorts and pants, I mean, they're really the same pattern. Just one of them you cut off here and the other one you make, floor length. But they do have a functioning fly button and all of that. Now, for as much as I love the sleeve of this top, I do find this part to be a little, I don't know, I don't love it. I don't know what about it I don't love. I don't know if I don't love the fact that it's not an actual button band and it's just a facing. I love the shaping. Obviously, all of that looks really good. The fit looks really good. All the darts are in the right place. Maybe it's this fabric with the shell button combo that's throwing me off. Or maybe I just wish it were cut on the fold. I don't know. But yeah, the button front is not my favorite. Yeah, it's gotta be this fabric with those buttons. I think we could do better. Are we gonna get to see the back? Yes. Okay, good. So here's our back. We do have fisheye. Well, not fisheye, but those long darts again. They will, I think they are wider in the middle at the waist to help cinch in that waist. And then they taper out at the top and bottom. So they are kind of like fisheye darts. The pants, they're not going to show us much. It does seem like there is a lot of extra fabric here. So be mindful of that. Well, it doesn't look so bad. Full length. And she is kind of sitting onto one leg. Yeah, they might not be that bad. You might just be able to make your usual adjustments on them and go from there. Gosh, I do like this better. I think I like it without the buttons. I think I would rather just cut it on the center fold and have like a V-neck or something. But that's just me, and apparently today I'm feeling weird about buttons. So it's okay. It's a me thing. Cotton blends, linen, gingham, poplin. Yeah, so what they're going for here, and this is how I try and assess every single one of the suggestions, instead of looking at exactly the fabrics that they're recommending, I look for like the vibe. So they're wanting kind of crispy, meaning not a lot of drape, mid-weight fabrics. And that's both for the leg of the pant to stay wide, but also, of course, for this. If you had something that was too drapey for this sleeve, it would just fall flat and you wouldn't be able to take in all of its, beauty and all of the massiveness it has. Notions wise, I like to look at the notions because it helps determine how much a garment is going to cost to make. Obviously, we have our fabric, but if there's a ton of notions and they're kind of like, specialty notions, it can get really expensive even outside of the fabric. So you need 7 buttons. They are 5/8" buttons. Maybe that's part of the reason why the buttons are so big. I don't know. And then for B and C, you need your zipper and then the hook and bar closure. So not to the end of the world, notion wise. And then finished garment measurements for that top, we're getting 4 inches. Right? 31, 32, 33, 34. Yeah, okay. Sorry, math is not mathing. And then the waist of the top, you're getting 3. And the waist of the pant, you're getting 1.5. And then the hip of the pant, you're getting 5. Okay, so, yeah, I agree. I mean, when I look at those numbers, I'm trying to compare it to what I see here. I do think it is looking like 5, 3, 5. Like I do agree with that. Could you do less here? For sure. Could you do more here? Absolutely. So I would maybe base this off of my waist, maybe for the top, and then for the pant, base it off my hip and whatever allowance I like to have at my hip. 5 inches is usually pretty good. And then get the waistband of the pant to fit that by adding more darts or whatever you need. But for this, I think I would start with the waist and then grade up or down accordingly. Good, cute little start though. I don't like that fabric at all. Yeah, something about this. Anyways, okay, we have another vest and pants. Every single one of the big 5 this year have come out with some kind of waistcoat suit set. Here's Butterick's. It is very much Butterick in that it's like women's wear kind of. Mrs. and women's top and pants. So we're going to get sizes 10 to 18 from the women's section and 20 to 28 10 to 18 in the misses and 20 to 28 in the women's. So although this is great that they are providing sizes from each category, it's still very limiting. It's not actually size inclusive. You're missing out on 4, 6, and 8 on the low end of the misses. You're also missing out on 20 and 22 and 24. Do they have 26 in misses? I can't remember. You're missing out on the higher end of this as well. And then on the women's, you're missing out on, 30 and above. At 20 misses, it's not the same as a 20 women's. The bust cups are different to start. So it's not like this is size 10 through 28. That's not how it works. So I actually don't really love when they combine them like this. I wish they would do this exact pattern in a full misses range and then separately do it in a full women's range. But what can you do? Sleeveless button top pattern is lined, fitted through bust, has square neckline, princess seams, and inseam pockets. Wide leg pants have waistband, back invisible zipper, and hook and bar closure on a back invisible zipper. I doubt that. I think it's a hook and eye, not hook and bar. But yeah, okay, fit wise, let's take these in one at a time. Honestly, they both look pretty darn good. They typically do struggle with the women's fit more so than the misses. They each have their own problems universally though. But I will say that it looks like the cup size of this one is really nice. The shoulder is cut in really beautifully. This seems to be pulling away from the body a little bit, like puckering away. It also looks kind of big on her here too, and definitely these arm size are way too high. If she had her arm down, I think it would just be more uncomfortable. We want to have like 2 fingers between your armpit and where the arm side ends. So we'll need to be checking this for arm side depth for sure. But the princess seams, and I think this is the princess seam, and I think this is a pocket, maybe? If not, it was just pressed really funny on both of them, which would kind of be ironic. The shape of this is really cute. I hate the button placement on the misses. Like, hate how it, like, I don't know. And it's kind of pulling here. Like, maybe it is a little bit too small through the bust on her. You see how they're like, all of these are radiating from her bust apex? Yeah. Whereas hers is a little bit more smoother because she doesn't have as full of a bust. So yeah, just some tweaks there, but because you do have the princess seams, it is going to make it a little bit easier to fit this, which is nice. We've got a nice wide leg on the pant. Can't really tell much about, what's happening on the fit elsewhere, but the leg opening looks good. There we are again, same picture, same pose, same pose. Okay, here's the back. Yeah, again, hers looks pretty darn good. Yeah, these darts in the back are beautiful. Fully shaping and adding almost like a flared element to the hem of this, which is nice. From what I can see of the pants, they do look okay. Hers, yeah, for sure, because that arm side is so darn high. This is definitely not the most flattering look on anybody. And then we've got some more radiating here. Again, kind of pointing to the bust though. So my inclination is if they just let it out in the bust a little bit. And all this that I'm saying, except for the arm side depth, is very just specific to this being a fit model and not the actual person this garment was made for. So take some of this with a grain of salt. Obviously, you're going to get your bust to fit differently than they would on her, but pay attention to it. And then it does look like the pant seems really, really loose in the leg on her compared to this girl's, right? Don't they look totally different? Do we get a wider shot of the back? Yes. So, again, nice smooth leg line. The curve looks good from what I can see. Really beautiful pant. And then we come to the women's, and because she has a butt, you know what I mean? Like, the fit is not the same because the crotch curve cannot be the same in a women's pattern and a missus pattern. I don't know how different they are. I don't know which ways they're different or if they're even different at all. But I think that's why we're having some of these odd issues on her. I will say having these two women back to back like this is a really great case study for curves, people who have curvy bodies, and why we have to make so many more alterations than others. But either way, gabardine, linen, sateen, and stable knits. So again, the vibe that they're going for here looks like, I would say, yeah, mid-weight for sure. Pretty stable. Linen can be a little bit questionable, the stability of linen, but all these others are pretty stable for sure. Lining fabric. Is it fully lined? It looks like the top is fully lined. So that's an additional cost, but it also, makes for a very beautiful top. And fusible interfacing. Okay. Then we need buttons, an invisible zipper, and they're still calling that a hook and bar. Is it a hook and bar in the back? Have I ever seen that before? Right? There's a hook and bar there? I would picture it where the zipper would go all the way up through the waistband and there's a little hook and, what is it called? Loop? No. I just said it earlier. I can't remember. You know what I mean? Where it goes all the way up and the zipper tab is up here. But they have a hook and bar in the back. It's been a long time since I bought like trousers, like nice dress pants. So maybe I'm just not with the times. I don't know. Okay, fit wise, we've got, what is that? 2.5 in the bust. Yes. And then for the top, we have 3 inches in the waist. Yeah, the Mrs. version looked a little bit smaller than that. And then the waist of the pant, we have 1 inch. That's perfectly reasonable, especially if they're high-waisted and that waistband is straight waistband, not curved. And then the hip of the pant, we have, kind of a lot. Almost 8, if I'm doing my math correctly. So yeah, very A-line, dramatic, wide leg pant. Next, we have this little number, a Mrs. Dress, 4 to 12 and 14 to 22. tiered dresses, which are still everywhere. They have been around for, I mean, years now, right? I feel like they're not going anywhere. Have collar band, split neckline, drop shoulders, 3/4 length sleeves with barrel cuffs, and slit opening at the leg. View B has contrast. Okay. Okay, so are there no buttons on this? Okay, so it is a plunging neckline, which if you're Mrs. size and you don't have to do a full bust adjustment, that's probably fine. If you are full busted, though, this could be split open a lot and just reveal more than it indicates here. You could add buttons in. That's not the hardest thing to do in the world. Or you could do a full bust adjustment so that it would fit similar to this for your bust cup size. It does look like we have a collar stand again with a collar. So the hardest of all the collars to sew. A lengthened shoulder and then, or like a drop sleeve, if you will, gathered here. And then this goes into just a little cuff. So very similar application to the first pattern we looked at, just lighter weight fabric and smaller. This one also has another seam right here too. So you could do 3 different sleeve lengths here. You could definitely just leave it off here and do a cuff. You don't have to add this on. You could add this on and have an elbow length like flutter sleeve, or you can bring it all in. You could also put elastic in this and have it be like really closed in on your wrist. We do have a curved, almost empire waist. And then straight across, this does look to be lower than low hip. Like right underneath your butt cheeks, which I like whenever they lengthen this first tier a little bit. I hate when they end at high hip. So my first option would be this. Second option would be low hip. The option I will always alter it if it ends at high hip. That's just not flattering. And then you have the little leg opening. Cute, cute. I love that she's on her tippy toes, even though she has no shoes on. And they also did give her toenail polish, which is just an epic detail. That's awesome. Okay, so there she is again. There's her. Yeah, going for a resort vibe for sure with this parrot fabric. This looks a little bit big, kind of all over on her. I'll be interested to see what the ideal or intended ease was on these. No center back seam. This is cut on fold. So I will say this is a nice pattern if your fabric has kind of an all over pattern that you don't want to disrupt too much. You do disrupt it here, but not so much in the back. Okay, that's all we're going to get. So, challis, cotton blends, lawn, and seersucker. All right, so challis is lightweight and drapey. These 3 are a little bit more structured. Lawn is still going to be lightweight. Seersucker kind of lands on like the higher end of lightweight. And cotton blends can run anywhere from light to midweight. So that's what they're going for from this. Anything drapey to structured and light to midweight. All you need is an invisible zipper, which, where does that even go? On the side, I guess, because of this seam. Yeah, there's the side zipper. Because this seam, I thought you could just pull it over your head. You are not able to just pull it over your head because this seam is so close fitting. Yeah, for sure. Oh, and I didn't notice it's scooped down in the back, and you do have waist darts there. Oh, and in the front. So really beautiful little bodice that they've constructed here. I wish that the contrast version, it was a little bit more obvious what was contrasted, but it's like the band and collar, this little middle piece of your sleeve, and then the whole bottom. You could do a lot of really fun stuff with that, with like stripes. I wouldn't color block necessarily, but you could do some fun with stripes. Even just the direction of the stripes would have been nice to call that out. Okay, finished garment measurements. They're only giving us the bust, and that is really big. It's 5.5 inches. Yeah, 5.5 inches. So it is pretty loosey-goosey. You could size down if you like it a little bit more fitted. I don't think it looks bad. I think it depends on the fabric, right? If you're doing something out of challis, which hard to tell if this is challis or not, but if you're doing something really drapey, you can get away with that much ease and have it be more like robe-like, you know. If you're doing something a lot more structured, you're probably going to want to size down because all of this becomes very like stands away from your body, becomes a lot more like a tent, which we don't really usually love. Okay, next we have this little Mrs. Dress, drop waist, 8 to 16 and 18 to 26, fitted midi dress sewing patterns, have front button opening, collared neckline, waistband with top stitching, gathered skirt, side seam pockets. View A has contrast at collar, separate pattern pieces for your cup sizes. So to me, this is a little bit more inclusive than when you have the Mrs. and Women's in one, simply because there's a lot more sizes and you have the different bust cups as well. So if you're a larger size because of your bust, you can still buy this Mrs. pattern. But we have a pretty like aggressive notched collar here. Princess seams into a waistband. Princess seams continue through to a drop waist V gathered skirt. Honestly, I don't hate it. Like, I really don't hate it at all. I wish their samples were more like the illustrations. Like, I want to swap these. I want to see what it looks like in plaid, in gingham, in stripes. Like, I want to see if you play this up, what happens. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Then you have the pockets. They're probably floppy pockets, which, you know, I'm not a fan of. You can alter them and have it so that it's anchored into this seam here. Don't know exactly how that would be because of the gathers. You don't want it to take away from the gathers. You could make it work, but it's still, I would probably just leave them off if it were me. But yeah, all of these style lines are so interesting. Then, of course, it's midi length, and it does look like we have a pretty deep hem. You can even see it on hers there. So, picture-wise, here's the back. This is what I'm most worried about for me and anybody who has, like, a pear shape. This obviously makes your hips look a lot wider. And I just feel like I have a kind of a bubble butt, and so it would just be like, you know, a real peach moment happening back here. Not my favorite look for myself. You could adjust this to be like this part. I don't even know what they would call that. Yoke, I guess. Midriff, maybe. You can make it shorter, right? So that this starts at your high hip instead of your, like, somewhere between. So that this isn't hinged in your, like, butthole. Oh, God. I would want this to end, like, up here. And I think it would work for more figures. But the back looks good. All this top stitching is really nice. I noticed this on the front. I think that the arm side on this one is too long. So they cannot get it together on that. I was noticing it here. Like, it should come up to here. Again, 2 fingers whenever you have your arm out to the side. So 1 finger, 2 fingers. I think this is too long. Which, again, if that's, well, then this is, I would, if it were me and I were making this, I would double check the length all the way down. If we shorten it up here, bring all of this up, then that brings this up, and it also brings this part up, which I was already considering doing anyways. You just want to double check that this piece here is at your natural waist. TBD if the bottom of the band is what's supposed to be at your natural waist. Do we get an indication in the line drawings? Yeah, the line drawings make it look like it kind of splits the difference. I'd be interested to see where on the pattern is the waistline marked. Also, I wasn't really getting this like cutaway haltery type of vibe from her version. So yeah, definitely the arm side situation needs to be checked. This also might be too long. Okay, I want this to come in more. So just some things to look out for if you're going to make that pattern. Okay, so we're looking at cotton blends, denim, twill, and linen. So these are going to be still pretty structured. Cotton blends can be a little bit more drapey, same with linen. But denim and twill are kind of on the heavier weight side of your summer fabrics. Again, if it's twill blended with rayon or something, it can still be really drapey. But denim is, you know, I guess depending on the weight of it. But denim, you know what denim looks like. I mean, there's lots of different types of denim, but they didn't say chambray. They said denim. So notions wise, you only need 10 buttons, so pretty affordable there. It did look like a fabric hog though, up to 4 yards plus a little. Not as bad as I thought, to be honest, but still kind of a lot. And then finished garment measurements, we're only getting the bust and waist. So roughly 3 inches in the bust. Excuse me. And then in the waist, 1 inch. Yeah, that could also be part of her problem, is I'm thinking that it's a little bit big for her. Definitely looks like she has more than 3 inches here, especially if we look in the back, right? Are we not seeing like more than 3 inches across here, and maybe more than 1? Like, can you see how it's, yeah. I think it's a combination of it being too big on her and maybe also some length issues. So just triple check those. It has potential, this pattern. Okay, now we've got a Mrs. skirt in 2 lengths, sizing 8 to 16 and 18 to 26. Flared skirt sewing pattern in midi or evening length, has ruffle-edged curved seams, elastic back, and side seam pockets. Well, this is a take on a high-waisted skirt if I've ever seen one. I'm a sucker for a ruffle, so you guys probably already know that I don't hate it. I'm just thinking, how practical is this? This looks very much like I'm going to a party, which I don't go to parties. This one looks a little bit more casual. Like I would wear it to Target, but I don't love maxi length daytime wear. So you could make it midi. Well, that's what this is. I'm tempted to want to love this, but I just don't know for me, like, where would I wear it? How would I wear it? What fabric would I make it out of? So many options. I definitely wouldn't do it out of this structured of a fabric. That's just not my vibe right now. I love it. And if one of y'all wore it, I would be like, yes, you look amazing. What a cool skirt. So, so, so cool. But I would make that and it would sit in my closet, I think. Yeah, the line drawings don't really help either. What are they calling for here? Chambray, linen, poplin, sateen, and taffeta. So yeah, pretty structured, especially taffeta, sateen for sure. Poplin's pretty crispy. Chambray and linen can be a little bit more drapey. But weight-wise, it's all pretty lightweight. Lightweight, but structured. Sateen could be the heaviest of them all. Chambray? Do I need a denim skirt like this? Chambray could work. I don't know. I want to like it because of the ruffles. I want to make it because of the ruffles, but again, I'm not in the mood to make things that I never wear. Oh, I'm gonna have to see some other people's versions before I pull the trigger. 2 yards of elastic for the back and horsehair braid. So they've got something, it's like a stabilizer in the hem of this one to make it stand even further away from the body to really give you that kind of like poodle skirt look. Interesting. But in B, I guess for a maxi, you wouldn't do that. Finished measurements, we don't get any. But obviously just use your waist. Honestly, on top of that, even the waist is a little bit, you can fudge with it because of the elastic. But yeah, so that's easy to fit for sure. It could be fun. I'd want to make sure I'd wear it. I'll think about it. None of these are on sale right now anyways, and I'm definitely not paying $17 or $16 for a big 5 pattern. So nothing's happening right now anyways. Okay, dress and tie belt. 6 to 14 and 16 to 24 on the sizing in misses. Lined midi length fit and flare dress pattern is close fitting through the bust. Has notch collar, button front opening, side seam pockets, hem band, tie belt, thread loops. View A has purchased Bias trim. Oh, purchased. Yuck. Okay. So, oh gosh. Well, the execution here is not my favorite. Again, it kind of has potential. I don't like the rose. I don't know. I just wish they would have left that off. And then all of this 1/2 inch wide bias binding is just, oh man. Maybe it's the contrast that I don't love, or it's such a I don't know. I don't hate it. Again, that's how I feel about all these patterns so far. So far, it's like, I don't hate it, I don't love it. I'm in the middle on every single one. That's unfortunate. Again, we have a arm size issue. Fit everywhere else, though, looks really, really good, I gotta say. I don't love how long the shoulder length is, but that's a me thing. I would want this to be cut back like this, probably to where that collar is. Also, another very aggressive notched collar, which isn't my favorite. The gold buttons, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's an issue with the styling and like the fabric choices that they made. The white fabric is great. I just don't love the white and blue. What could they have done other? Maybe a white and beige, or like a print with like a solid binding on the end. This is really beautiful though as a solid, but it's kind of also not that special. Like, you probably have a pattern like this. These princess seams are really beautiful. And then you've got a side seam pocket. Is there a seam under here? There is not. So they're definitely floppy pockets, which means no thank you. Yeah, again, see how the shoulder looks like it's cut back a little bit more than it is on the model? Okay, here's the back. Center back seam, which I don't think we need. You can cut that on the fold. A little bit big on her, but maybe it's meant to be that way so the belt can do the work. But yeah, I just want to pinch out some of this here. And then all this, is this just like top stitched down? There's also a center back seam on the skirt too. You don't need that either. Yeah, I think they could have done better with the fabric choices there. I don't think people are going to not like it as much as I do, but I don't think anyone's going to make the same choices they did. And if you do, that's fine too. I don't hate it. Like I said, it's not like I would see that and be like, oh my God, like, it's fine. We can do better. Okay, lightweight denim. Yeah, like lightweight denim with some kind of, maybe like denim on denim bias binding. Why we have to purchase the binding? We can make our own. Linen blends, mid-weight crepe, stable knits. So yeah, mid-weight, somewhere, somewhat stable. You don't have to have the most crispy thing, but it can't, but if it were drapier, that would be fine too. The bias binding is going to add a lot of structure to whatever fabric you use. 8 buttons and then 3 packages of bias tape. No, that's a lot. When you can make, I don't know, a mile of bias binding from like a 10-inch square, that's not accurate, but you know what I mean. You don't need a lot of fabric to make a ton of bias tape. Because you also need, it's 6 packages. It's 3 of single fold and 3 of double fold. No, we're not doing that. Finished measurement, ease-wise, 2 inches in the bust. Yeah, no, it was way bigger than that on her. 2.5 in the waist. Yeah. And then in the hip, there's going to be a lot, which is fine. Yeah, you could probably size down on this to get somewhere closer to... 2 in the bust is probably fine. I think it was just bigger on her. I think she has more than 2. She probably has closer to 3, maybe. Give me something good. Okay, better. This is a Mrs. and Mrs. Petite dress in 2 lengths. Is it knit? Close fit. Sizing. We've got 8 to 16 and 18 to 26. Close fitting sleeveless wrap dress pattern has sash that ties around the waist. Shelf bra. Hello. And narrow hem. They just started doing this season where they've got this little hyperlink where you can go to a tutorial that teaches you how to do a narrow hem. Okay. Definitely don't hate it at all. Love the collar that they chose. Okay, it's definitely got some kind of wrap element on the bottom. I think she looks great. What's the back look like? Oh, just simple and plain. Again, cutaway shoulders. That's so nice. From what I can see, the arm side on this one's okay, but she's definitely got her arms pretty close. Actually, no. Now that I'm looking at it, it does appear to be a little bit long through there as well. What is up with that, Butterick? Oh, and that's all we're going to get. Dang. Okay, hold on. Let me look at these line drawings. Oh. It's just like a half wrap situation. Definitely don't hate that. Definitely don't hate that. And a shelf bra included? I would love to see what their directions look like for a shelf bra. Fabric wise, it is a knit dress. So stretch knits such as cotton knit, interlock jersey, rib knit. See stretch gauge. Okay, I'm going to keep saying this in case someone misses one of my other videos. But seeing the stretch gauge and then it not being online anywhere is very, A, confusing for a beginner, and B, unhelpful for the rest of us. All you have to do is whatever information is in this stretch gauge, so the percentage that you're looking for, just type that out right here. Instead of see stretch gauge, just say must have, 25% stretch, 100%, whatever it is. Okay? Okay. Again, I'm going to give you guys a grace period of the end of this year. Okay? Come 2026, now that we don't have Joanne, you all know Joanne is closing, so all the patterns that you guys are designing and printing for future seasons, like I get you guys work months and months and months ahead, fine. But come 2026, that I don't see any reason why you couldn't have the stretch percentages on here now. Okay, done with that. I do think rib knit would be a beautiful option. It has the most recovery out of all of these. I also think interlock and I2Y would be a really interesting choice. Those just tend to be a little bit more thin and kind of clingy. What are what's the ease here? So we do have positive 1/2 inch ease in the bust, positive 1.5 in the waist, and then negative in the hip, negative 1.5 in the hip. That's a lot of positive in the waist. I don't think well, maybe under here is where it's all being kind of like pulled in. I mean, maybe. But I don't think you need that much. I think you can go down on that for sure. On the waist. The positive 1/2 in the bust. Yeah, you might be able to go down on that too, especially if whatever the stretch percentages are, if they're 50 and above, I think you could go pretty fitted, like more fitted than this. Like 0 in the bust and waist, maybe even negative in the bust, 0 in the waist, something like that. The negative 1.5 in the hip is okay. But if you're in between sizes, just be mindful of that negative 1.5, because then if you size down, then the 1.5 becomes 3.5, and now you've got a very like tight skirt. Okay, and then the notions, you need 1/4 inch elastic, a lot of it. I wonder where that goes. Some stabilizer, I'm sure, and then this 3/4 inch elastic, I think, is what goes in the band of the shelf bra. Okay, it's the first one that I've been like, I could see myself buying this. Not for $16, but I could see myself buying it. Okay, now we have, very, very Butterick, classic Butterick, this just whole silhouette. They've done this pattern 1,000 times. Misses and women's shirts. Sizing, 10 to 18, 20 to 28. We've been over that. Very loose fitting shirt patterns. Have concealed button front opening. That's nice. Front patch pocket, banded collar, wide 3/4 length sleeves with pleats and button cuffs, shaped high-low hem with side slits. Butterick loves an oversized button down. That's their thing. This one only has the button band and not the actual collar. Long, like, shoulder length, I think on purpose, like a drop sleeve on purpose. Wide sleeve, a little pleat here into a wide button or a wide cuff. The concealed button thing is nice. And then your pocket. Yeah, I don't know. I love hers more than hers for some reason. Maybe just the styling with like the little pencil pants, and maybe if hers were like tucked in the front a little bit or shorter in the front, they could have given us a little bit more with this. Again, it's just been done a million times by Butterick. So it feels a little bit like been there, done that. Here's the back. We do have like an actual yoke. This stand is tall. And then the yoke with the pleat, like a traditional. Oh, here's the... Okay, so it is like a regular button-down shirt. It's just wider and shorter. Again, I don't know why. I don't love hers. Maybe as a dress, this would be cute. Let's look at some line drawings. They're not really helping. This one looks chaotic. What even is that? It looked cute on her because it was white, but because they have to, gray it out for the contrast, it looks a little bit wild. Yeah, maybe if you're, I don't know, wanting something a little bit more, you could definitely make this front part, like, shorter, show some more of the, like, crotch to waist area of your pant. That would be a little bit more flattering for, like, just regular shorts. I guess it depends on how you want to wear it. And then as a dress, I'm second guessing myself because this is so big and then the dress would be really big. It would just feel like a potato sack. So take back what I said about the dress. Maybe if you belted it, but I don't love belting things like that. Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things that I'm sure I'm going to see somebody else's version who's very thoughtful, who knows how to style it, who picks, really great fabrics. And I'm going to say, oh, that looks so good on her. But as I'm seeing it here, I'm thinking, no for me. Chambray, cotton shirting, gingham, linen blend, seersucker. Yes, all of your lightweight, stable fabrics. You could eat, they did do seersucker in there. Seersucker would be cute, for sure. 11 buttons. That's all you need. And they're all concealed, so they don't even have to be fancy buttons. They can just be cheap buttons. And then finished garment-wise, the measurements, where the ease we're getting is significant. What is that, 16 inches of ease? That's a lot. Maybe that's also what's contributing to why I don't like hers. I think it looks good on her because the proportions are matching. But on her, it feels like too big. Maybe if it were a little bit closer fitting on her. Yeah, just something about the proportions all in all here feels wrong. But hers, maybe because of the pants, maybe because of the maybe because of the heel, lots of reasons why this one could look better. It's also hitting her a little bit lower than it is on her. So it could just be an issue of proportions, which again is why it's so interesting to see the same pattern in Mrs. and Women's, because all these little things add up to something being flattering no matter what size you are. And sometimes it works in the favor of the women's and sometimes it works in the favor of the misses. It's not always cut and dry. Okay, next up we have, oh boy, Palmer Plush. Who's Tammy? Who's Tammy? Tammy. Oh, has there been a shakeup at Palmer Plush? From what I remember, Patty Palmer was headlining this until about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And then her daughter took over, I thought. I can't remember her name now, but her daughter's name is not Tammy. So did they hire somebody to be the new designer of Palmer Plush? I'll have to look into that. If you know, leave it in the comments. Okay, 8 to 16, 18 to 26 on the size range. Fitted pants sewing pattern, have curved waistband. Front pin tucks and invisible zipper closure. Okay, they have back pockets and side slits at leg. Make an outfit with a matching jacket. Oh, this is a separate pattern. Okay. If you've never sewn Palmer Plush before, they are the tissue fitting method people, so they are supposed to be able to get you the perfect fit. They have like lines on their patterns and teach you how to do full bust adjustment, speaking about pants specifically, how to lengthen things, you know, all of that. So why these fit so badly is concerning. Normally they will have their own model, and so they're, from what I can tell in the past, they've made the pattern to fit whatever fit model they know, and then they send that model over to Simplicity to get the pictures taken. This just feels too long in the rise is mostly what I'm seeing here. I mean, I guess everything else is okay. This is just very distracting. What else do we have about these? I mean, the outfit is just kind of wild. The jacket's better. I wonder if when we look at the jacket pattern, if we'll see them together. Oh, JK. We see them together now. This is obviously like some kind of sweatshirting or ponte or something. I appreciate this. The jacket does fit pretty good, but they've been doing blazers forever. So they wouldn't have had to do a lot to, you know, create this version. Yeah, I guess the pants look better here. I don't know if she's just maybe moving around a lot in the first, and they fell down. Those do look better. Yeah, the back looks pretty good. I think if any of us made pants that looked like this in the back, we would be like pretty proud of ourselves. We do have one issue here, but I don't think it's because she's turned her head that way. It doesn't look like she's popped her hip. There's also this here. But again, honestly, like if any of us made pants like this, we would be like, look at me, I'm a pants fitting superstar. So just being super critical. Also, this is the kind of zipper I thought they were talking about for the other pattern, where it goes through the waistband. And you have a, not a hook and bar, it's a hook and eye. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the little pencil pant with the slit, like the 1950s kind of thing is, oh, people are wearing that again, but it's like it girlies. It's not Butterick people. It's not, you know, like everybody, it's not very appealing to the masses. Like only a certain few people are going to look really good in those pants. But honestly, like even that super skinny model didn't look super great in them either. So that's not giving me a lot of hope. But it isn't, oh, it is. Okay, so boiled wool, which is a woven. Obviously, crepe is a woven. Can you imagine those in crepe? No. And then double face knits, jacquard knit, and ponte knit. So not the most stretchy of all the knits. Actually not stretchy at all, but definitely like spongier, which I guess, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think it covers up more of the lumps and bumps if it's like a little bit thicker versus crepe, which is just like, I'm going to see what you had for breakfast. An invisible zipper is all you need, so affordable in that regard. Is there not even, oh, there is fusible knit interfacing. Okay. And then finished measurements in the waist, we have 2 inches. That could be part of the problem, why it's falling down, especially 2 inches with a curved waistband is kind of a lot. And then in the hip, we've got 2 inches as well. So pretty significant amount of positive ease for something potentially in a stretchier type of fabric. I don't know what they use, but that could be part of the problem, is that this is stretching and kind of falling down some. I don't know. I can't look at it anymore, though. It's kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies. Now we have, okay, these pants I can get behind. Mrs. Pants, alphanumeric sizing, all the sizes in one, semi-fitted pull-on pants pattern, have elastic drawstring waist, exposed seams with raw edges, front patch pockets with top stitching, and a little tutorial if you want to watch, and length variations. This is giving me Free People movement specifically. I love Free People movement. I think these are so cool. I love them with the little platform or with a sneaker. This one here, is that asymmetrical? Because that's a choice. Also, this looks like woven, and then they frayed it. Also a choice. The only thing I think I don't love about these is this waistband. I loathe ribbons as a drawstring. Like, no. Secondly, this looks wide. The waistband casing is wide. I like that, but it doesn't look like the elastic is wide enough. I like when the elastic and the casing are like hot dogs and a hot dog bun, like very, very close to the same width, I guess. And this feels a little bit like the elastic in there is gonna be really loose, and I don't like that. So maybe it would have been better to do either the athletic, like stitching lines through the elastic, or 3 separate smaller elastics. I don't know, but yeah, this has got to go. Okay. It also does seem a little bit low on the waist. Low rise, I guess I should say. Yeah, for sure low rise, which I don't hate. I guess this upper part hits at your natural waist. Is this also an exposed seam that's just not... Is it? I can't tell. I like this part, though. That seems cool. And, gosh, we don't even have to hem it. So certainly it's got to be easy to sew. Yeah, this just feels a little... It looks cheap to me when it looks like this. I want it to be, like, tighter and smaller. Okay, so it is asymmetric. I like that. Okay, stretch knits only, cotton knit, French terry, interlock, lightweight sweatshirt fleece. If I had to imagine, I'm going to say the stretch percentage on this is like 25. You don't need a ton. It is very loose fitting. At the hip alone, we've got 5 inches. The elastic does all the work in the waist. So yeah, you don't need something with a ton of stretch. Honestly, you could do it out of a woven if you wanted to do that as well. Like a denim with all the exposed things when you wash it. That could be kind of cool. Just remember though, it is going to be like a wide leg, so it is going to stand away from your body pretty significantly if the fabric is really structured. But you could do it out of a woven if you wanted. Okay, elastic. They have 2-inch wide non-roll elastic. Non-roll makes sense. And then twill tape or ribbon. Oh, that's for that stupid drawstring, but we're not doing that. You're either going to buy like an actual real drawstring, or you're going to make it out of the same fabric. And I also love to get like the little aglets, like the metal things that go on the end. I think it makes it look a little bit more professional. You can even get the plastic aglets. I think they're really easy to install. If I remember correctly, Stomachers Fabrics has that, but it's like a little tube of plastic. You slide it onto the end, and I think you just like put some heat on it and it shrinks up on top. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I'll do a little buy it and try it thing with those. But I like this pattern. This is much more my speed in terms of what I'm wearing these days. If that says anything about the current state of my lifestyle. Oh, that's sad. Okay. Mrs. Robe in 2 lengths and pants. Okay, so alphanumeric sizing, small to 2X, so they're missing the extra small. Loose fitting robe sewing pattern has front ties, patch pockets, and length variations. Wide cropped pants pattern have elastic waist and side seam pockets. Wide leg cropped. Oh, I guess it is a little bit cropped. So she's not wearing any pants? Correct. Okay, I got it now. All right, so yeah, your traditional robe, there's nothing special about this one. If you've got a robe pattern, you've got this pattern. Literally nothing special about it. This one happens to come with pajama pants. Again, not a ton special about that. If you've been sewing for any amount of time, you probably already have one of these patterns, or a pattern like this. I can't say that this one's any more special or better than any of the other ones I've ever seen. Kind of all the same. This one's not unique. It's not designed any better. It is what it is. Again, kind of like that other shirt where it's just like they just copy paste from one season to the next. Just make a new sample and then whoa, we got a new pattern. So challis, chambray, linen blends, rayon crepe, stable knits. Yeah, they're going kind of lightweight on some of these. And elastic for the pants is all you need there. Finished garment measurements, kind of silly, but on the bust we've got 9 inches. The hip of the pant we have 7 inches. Now we've got, oh, are we getting into vintage? Oh, we're getting into vintage. Okay, this is 1960s jumper, skirt, shorts, and blouse. Oh my gosh. 6 to 14, 16 to 24, vintage sportswear coordinate sewing patterns. Wraparound skirt and jumper, lined to edge, blouse and shorts. Top stitch trim. What is it? It's the jumper, which is this, lined to the edge. I'm so confused. What do you get? A jumper. Is that not just a dress? Is this a dress? You wear this out, right? It's not an apron. Waist darts, bust darts, kind of fit and flare situation. These funky, cool pockets. A little, is that a, yes, it's like a tie, but it's not separate. It's connected, I think. Yeah, like a wrap. But it wraps in the back. Okay, I'm getting it now. Wraps in the back. Or you have this skirt, also wraps in the back. This little short, which has 2 darts in the back, or 4 across. I like that. And look how cute this little number is. That's kind of a throwaway, but the design looks really cute. I like that collar a lot. Okay, so you get all of these things. You get this. You get this skirt. Skirt and shirt. Shirt, shorts, and skirt. Is that what's happening here? That's why I'm confused. This guy's confusing me. They're saying only B. But also the top, no? Oh man, these vintage really just get me. I'm all confused. There was a shorts, and there was a top, and there was a skirt. So that should be all 3. Broadcloths, denim, drills, gabardines, poplin, and sailcloths. So crispy, crunchy, meaning not drapey, and gosh, mid-weight, really. I think you could go back to the cotton blends, linens of the world. You'd be okay in that area as well. And then, because remember, it's fully lined. So that's going to make it even heavier. So think about that. Choices were made here. You don't have to line it, but if you don't know how to take away the lining and still finish everything really clean, it's better probably just to line it with like regular lining fabric, honestly. Okay, so now zipper, 3 hooks and eyes, and the blouse needs 3 buttons and 1 small snap. Don't know why, but it's probably a good reason. Vintage patterns were paid way more attention to all that kind of stuff than they do nowadays. And then finished garment measurements are never on the back of these envelopes. We have next, oh my gosh, so many blue. What is this? Mrs. Dress and Jacket. I'm sure this was inspired by Jackie O. No, look at that pillbox hat. Sailor collared dress and jacket sewing pattern. View A is sleeveless dress with full unpressed box pleated skirt. That just means you don't iron it. I don't get it. Big sailor collar and self belts. Contrast lined and braid trimmed waist length jacket. View B, sheath dress. Oh my gosh. Short sleeve jacket bound to match dress. Sometimes there's too many words and I get overwhelmed and confused. Okay, we have a dress with the sailor's collar. Is that separate? Let me go back. No. Oh. Oh. Okay. I didn't get any of this from what I just read. You have the optional skirt, fitted or pleated. And I think unpressed means it's just not pressed down here, I think. And then this little number is just like a little dolman. This is probably super cute also not. You have the little darts here, these darts here. I think this is like the real winner. I might not ever sew that, but this jacket's really cute. And then you slide the jacket on underneath your collar. Because I do think the collar's attached somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Taxi. Okay. Checks, which I guess is gingham. Crepe jersey. linen, poplin, silky cottons. What is a silky cotton even? View A, lining. Cotton lining fabrics. Oh no. Zipper, seam binding, purchase belt. What? Purchase belt is now a notion. um, and then fold over braid trim for the jacket. That's a lot. Oh, I lied. Look, we have finished garment measurements here. I take it back what I said earlier. The bust of the dress has 3.5 inches of ease. Wow. The waist has 1. The hip of what? The skirt of B, the pencil skirt, has 4.5 inches. Yeah, it's just really hard to tell because there's no actual human models. So I don't know if any of that is actually what you're going to get when you make this. I don't hate a sailor's collar either. I would do that, but yeah, the dress, the fit and flare dress is just not my vibe anymore. Okay, little girl, we're going to skip her. We're going to skip her, but oh my gosh, how cute is she? Super cute. And then we've got Sassy McSassy Sasserson, Cutie Patootie, little baby. Okay, we're skipping all these little kids patterns because I don't know about kids patterns. I don't sew them. Okay, so that's Butterick Summer 25. Yeah, I think as you guys could tell, starting off, it was a little bit of a, like, wasn't loving, wasn't hating, just kind of meant a little bit forgettable, I guess is another way to say it. It got a little bit better through here, a little bit. If I bought any patterns, if I ever did, it would be these pants and this dress. But even those are like big question marks. But I want to know what you guys think of this collection. If you'll be grabbing any of the patterns, let me know which ones. That's going to do it for me today, though. I will see you all very soon. Bye!